everybody.
Hi, guys. Well, from beautiful Salt Lake City, Utah.
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
The podcast.
I'm Frank.
And I'm Dan.
And coming up today, we got a 4th of July message
It's,
for
there are
all y'all.
fireworks going off here. For those of you not in these United States of America, the 4th of July is, as you will know already, Independence Day for the U.S. of A. We actually just call the holiday the 4th of July. We're very clever about our names.
Yes.
But or at least colloquially. But yeah, that's where we're going to talk about.
Big holiday.
We're going to talk about America.
Yeah.
America!
Yes.
Yeah.
And watermelon and fireworks and
All the things that make us great. Christianity. the cornerstone, the founding principle of our great country, of our fine land.
so true, so true.
Yeah.
Well, Dan,
But before that, we got other things. What do you got?
I've got the story of a little website, Dan,
Okay.
called ChristianMingle.com.
Oh, it's a little website that could.
Yeah, well, and now they have to
Oh, no.
because they a lawsuit was brought to bear against them by a couple gay men
Uh-oh.
who were pissed off that they couldn't join up on Christian Mingle
What?
and find other Christian gay men,
Oh, no.
which is the most one of the most horrifying things I can think of. But,
That's not hot?
No.
That's not kind of a turn on to
Nope.
sully a Christian?
Nope.
Okay.
So they sued, and the judge agreed with them.
Good
and
grief.
now ChristianMingle.com has to accommodate for gay folk. So instead of used to have to select either man seeking a woman or woman seeking a man. And now
Right.
you're going to be able to do identify your gender, and then
identify
and
another
identify what you're looking for.
what you're looking for. Oh my
Dun, dun,
god.
dun, and then it's going to match you up.
Wow.
This includes all of the websites in the Mingle empire.
Oh,
There's also Catholic Mingles
okay.
or CatholicMingle.com, AdventistSinglesConnection.com,
Oh my gosh.
and BlackSingles.com. So they all have to comply.
Holy crap.
This is and it all happened thanks to a California anti-discrimination law.
Wow.
That
So these websites are based in California?
they must be,
Wow.
or at least they're operating in California.
So ladies and gentlemen, when we do our audio break next week, look to be hearing about gay people and Christians being once again
mingled.
mingled with the queers.
Just sounds awful.
Not okay.
Oh, my
it's not
God.
okay.
Well, for me, it's really not okay.
right.
I think these gay men should have found other alternatives. Because
I personally feel like the websites should be able to like exclude whoever they got to exclude, just because there are plenty of websites out there. You can.
Excuse me.
Although, in fairness, it's not like there are any gay websites to find gay hookups. It's not like that exists.
Yeah, but those usually have you identify all sorts of traits about yourself, including your religion.
Right. Well, there you go.
I have never seen one that didn't.
You can filter by religion. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
And so for them to be like, well, we're a Christian and we're not going
Yeah. Nope.
gays can't be Christians. They can't mingle.
I mean, it's delightful to me
Right.
that they now have to do that.
Oh, it's wonderful. Yeah, yeah.
I don't necessarily agree that they should have to, but I think it's hilarious.
Apparently, they owe both of the plaintiffs $9,000 each.
Oh,
And they have to cover the lawyers' fees, which they're the real winners in this one.
yeah.
$450,000 in
Hokey
legal
smokes.
fees.
That's wow.
So
Don't discriminate against the gays. I mean, you shouldn't anyway.
because we're going to come after you,
Indeed.
and we're going to sue you.
Yeah, the lawyers made out pretty well on that. That's pretty good. Well, there you go. There you go. Everybody go and create a Christian Mingle. I actually one time created a Christian Mingle account and like put a bunch of gay stuff up on there just as a joke, just because I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
But I didn't put man seeking woman because that wasn't an option. I just put I didn't put man seeking man. I put man seeking woman, and then I just like the first several paragraphs of my description, I kept very, very straight, and then the last few I just kept hinting at gayness.
Oh.
Hinting and then hinting and then hinting until
Yeah.
Because I thought that was funny.
Now
now it's not funny anymore.
How was it received, Dan? Did other people find it funny?
My account was deleted. I did not.
So
delete.
they did not find it funny.
They didn't find it funny. I don't think they had a sense of humor about it. But now my account would be fine.
Your account, yeah.
So there you go. All right, I'm going to move on to the Mormons.
Oh yeah.
This is from the Mormon newspaper here in town, the Deseret News.
Yes, the Daily.
It is a daily. So President Russell M. Nelson, who is not the president of the church, even though they call him president, he's the president of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles.
This is true.
In the church. Anyway, he's a bigwig in Mormon circles.
Yeah.
He recently gave a long talk. But there were a couple things from it that I just found delightful, so I thought I'd just lift those out and show them to everybody.
Yes, please do.
For instance, the part where he said, quote, now I'm going to remind everyone, the Book of Mormon, which is the sort of founding document of the Mormon Church, it's sort of the most important book that Mormons have, is meant to have been a translation of ancient texts written on plates of gold by Indians, by Native Americans who weren't native to America at that time, but were native to
immigrants.
Israel. They were
Israeli immigrants to
our fair continent and the one below it. Doesn't make any sense, of course, but that's okay. That's what the Book of Mormon is, and it is meant to be a true accounting of what happened to those peoples in 600 BC
terrified.
Or whatever. Here's what President Nelson said.
Oh, no.
There are some things in the Book of Mormon. There are some things the Book of Mormon is not, he says. It is not a textbook of history. Although some history is found within its pages, it is not a definitive work on ancient American agriculture or politics.
Oh.
It is not a record of all former inhabitants of the Western Hemisphere, but only of particular groups of people. Now, those who listened to our show, 400 years ago or whatever, will remember that we, at one point, went into a whole list of things that were problematic about the, quote, history parts of the Book of Mormon.
Yes.
Things like they had chariots with wheels pulled by horses, and they had swords, none of which could possibly have actually happened, considering that the Native American peoples had no, they had no metallurgical skills, really, at least not to work iron and steel.
Right.
And they had no horses.
Right.
That was a problem. There's a lot.
Chariots.
There's a lot of problems.
Wasn't there an issue with the wheel?
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, that didn't exist. That wasn't a thing. None of these things are things.
Oh no!
But they appear in the Book of Mormon. So I guess the Mormons are backing off on the historicity of it.
Or at least tiptoeing that direction.
It seems a little strange to me. They're going
He's
in
testing some waters.
Yeah, he is. Apparently, he's a mythicist, not a.
What will the population think?
I know. It's scary. It's very funny.
What will farms do without the need to try to prove?
Yeah. President Nelson, who kind of looks like, I don't know, one of the Skeksis from the Dark Crystal, a little bit, increasingly so. He also said that he talked about the quote in Isaiah that Mormons hear a lot about a marvelous work and a wonder.
Ah, yeah.
And they claim that that's about the Book of Mormon. But he says that he went through this whole thing. This is just a goof thing, but he went through this whole thing about how the translations of marvelous and wonder can both sort of be translated from the original Hebrew into miraculous and miracle. So he was very proud of himself for calling the Book of Mormon a miraculous miracle.
Oh.
That's not a thing. Don't be proud of that turn of phrase. That is a dumb turn of phrase.
Well, all right then.
It is a stupid piece of stupidity.
Oh, hey,
See
look
what
at
I did
that
there?
turn of phrase.
See what I did
Dan.
there? Huh?
Look at you being clever. All right.
What do you got?
I have dun, dun, dun,
Uh-oh.
federal judge
Oh,
striking down laws in Mississippi.
oh yes.
Taking care-
This one's national news. You may have even heard this.
Yeah,
listeners.
probably have.
We're not exposing you to this. For brand new.
No, most definitely not. If you're a news listener, you've probably heard this one. But anyway, felt like it was important.
Yeah.
Mississippi had passed a law that allowed. It was one of these religious objection laws, right?
Yes.
Where and this one was directed at 3 specific objections that a religious person could have that were justified in this law. They could believe that marriage is only between a man and a woman, and then they're allowed to discriminate.
That law is set to protect all those pastors who have been forced, or who the government's going to force to do a gay marriage.
Also, something that you could believe that sex should only take place in such a marriage.
Right.
Right? Okay. So then you could discriminate.
Then you can
based
discriminate.
on that belief.
Right.
And also listed was that a person's gender is determined at birth and cannot be altered.
Right.
So clearly...
Right. Meaning, if you have a PP, then you're a boy. If you have a vajayjay, you're a girl. And that's
Exactly.
final. That's the end
End
of
of
it.
story.
There is no more question.
No way to change it.
But what if you have both? Shut up.
Right. Well, but you were allowed to believe that. And
Right.
you could discriminate based on that.
Right.
So you could...
You don't have to
this
make
could
a
affect
cake for a gay.
adoptions, foster care,
Right.
Various business practices, school
Housing.
restroom policies.
Sure.
You could deny services to members of the LGBT community.
Oh, thank goodness.
So forth and so on.
Right.
But this U.S. District Judge Carlton Reeves says that it is the law was the state's attempt to put LGBT citizens back in their place.
Yeah.
And
Correct. That's what it was.
And so he says, in physics, every action has its equal and opposite reaction. In politics, every action has its predictable overreaction.
I like that.
So he's having fun.
This is basically his shut up
Yeah.
moment. It's the shut up decision.
Yep.
No, you can't just discriminate against gay people.
Right.
No, you can't just discriminate against trans people because you believe it.
Yeah. It's amazing to me that in an attempt to protect religious freedom, they're picking one version, one religious interpretation of the world,
Right.
and sanctifying that one in law.
Obviously.
And so that clearly is freedom of religion.
Right.
That doesn't...
Right. Yeah, because if the Satanists started to come in and say, but we want our beliefs sanctified in law, we want to be able to discriminate based on our beliefs.
No,
I don't think they'd be okay with that.
No. Yeah, I just don't. Anyway,
Yeah, it's
just they bug me.
But really, what's happening is that the world is discriminating against the poor Christians who
Clearly,
have these beliefs and aren't allowed to just act willy-nilly on their beliefs.
yeah.
It's clearly discrimination against them. If they want to stone their daughter for being a slut, we're just not going to let them? That's a religious belief.
Yeah, it's another example, Dan, of how we're persecuting Christians.
It happens every day.
This is just clear as day to me now that we, as a whole, America is persecuting Christian.
Yeah, we'll get to more of that later. Here's another. since I mentioned it, I'm going to talk about Satanists a little bit.
Dan.
The City Council of Pensacola, Florida.
Oh, Pensacola.
And we've heard a little bit about this story throughout the ages, but they're one of their city council. The city council president Charles Baer, is going to have a new proposal at the next meeting that they stop having prayers, invocations at their meetings.
Oh, how is this being received? This
Well-
must be he must be some leftist crazy man.
Well, no, he's doing it to prevent them from having to let the Satanists do one of the prayers. This is why the Satanists are the ones doing the good work in the world, because if you just came to them and said, stop praying, it's against the Constitution, they'd be like, fuck you, it's not against my Constitution, blah, blah, blah. But if you say, okay, everybody gets to pray, Satanists, come on in. What? Well, no, we can't allow that. No, ain't no Satanist praying at my town hall meeting.
Well, I guess if what it's going to take is me having to stop praying so they can't pray, then that's what's going to have to happen.
So what he's going to propose is that they begin with a moment of silence instead.
But what if the Satanists want to have a moment of silence?
They will. They
Yeah?
will all be silent together. Everybody be silent. Although I'll
Is
bet
somebody
you,
going to conduct the moment of silence?
I think it's going to be called for.
Okay.
We will now have a moment of silence.
As led by
Well,
no
No,
minister
probably-
so and so.
no, probably just
who will
the
get up and just be quiet.
probably just City Council President Baer will just get up there and say, "Now everybody have a moment of silence," and he'll probably say something shitty like, "And pray if you wish to pray."
No, he'll be
quietly
more
or-
passive aggressive about it. He'll probably have a moment of silence and think about the situation in this country right now where we're not allowed to pray
Right,
in
yeah,
front
exactly.
of public meetings. That's what you're supposed to think about during this moment of silence.
We will now
Thank
have
you.
a moment of silence because to think about how Christians are put upon in this nation. Everybody be quiet for 3 seconds. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Yes. This moment of silence is brought to you by Jesus.
By Jesus.
Right.
I hope that someone does go to... if we have listeners in Pensacola, the first city council meeting that they have where they don't pray...
Yeah.
Wait until they finish go there, wait until they finish the moment of silence, respectfully wait, and then when they finish it and he says thank you, just say, "Hail Satan," and then be done. That's all you have to do. I think that'd be great.
Just record it.
Yeah.
Get video of it.
Yeah, it's the good stuff.
If you don't get video, we won't believe you.
It never happened.
Yep. All right. Stan, there's oh boy. I don't even know where to start with this one. A church in Kansas, it's just awful, is asking for the identity of 2 underage girls who were the victims of sexual assault at a holiday Bible school that they ran, to be revealed by the court.
Okay.
Because the families are suing the church
Right.
over the fact that they had a known sexual predator.
And so
In the
basically they're
midst.
calling for the
They're playing a dirty game
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
And it's not exactly what you would expect a church to be doing.
well, yeah.
These religious folk just amaze me. They never cease to amaze me. Let's see. It's the West Side Family Church in Lenexa, Kansas.
Okay.
They have accused the girl's family of a Pearl Harbor-style barrage of negative publicity.
Wow.
And
They're going Second World War on
yeah.
it. Wow.
And that the family tactically decided to draw first blood on the issue publicly by leaking the story to the press before notifying the church that it was being sued.
Wow, that must have felt awful for them. Those poor church pastors. Gosh, what must it be like to feel that kind of horrible thing happen to them?
No. They should not, this is continuation, they should not be able to hide behind pseudonyms after systematically and intentionally initiating a campaign specifically designed to damage defendants' reputation.
Yeah. How old were these? Are these plaintiffs?
13 and 11.
I think they can hide behind whatever the fuck they need to.
Yep.
They don't need to be ostracized from society for being the victims of a crime.
The rapist was convicted
Okay.
of attempted rape and attempted electronic solicitation of a child.
So they have like ample evidence.
Oh yeah.
There's no getting around the fact that this shit went down.
Oh no. This happened. The family knows that it happened.
Right.
And now they're suing the church on the grounds that the church knew that this young man had a problem.
And allowed it to continue.
And they allowed him in as a Bible school instructor.
Yeah.
So
no.
in a position of authority.
Good Lord.
Right?
Not okay.
So the girl's mother released a statement saying, "We are saddened by the need to file this lawsuit on behalf of our daughters and all children at Westside Family Church. We feel that the church leaders did not take the steps necessary to protect our children from this publicly known convicted sex offender.
You know,
We feel they willingly enabled him to participate in student ministry."
on a real front here, on a genuine note, this is what comes of churches feeling like they can handle things internally with impunity. There needs to be transparency in these organizations, and when there isn't, horrible shit happens. Yeah.
Because this kid had probably, come to Jesus.
Right. Yeah, he went and had several meetings with the
saved.
pastor, who the pastor was like, are you ever going to do this again?
Yeah.
Kid was like, no, I love Jesus now. Yeah, great. Well, pastor, you aren't the one who gets to make the call.
No.
That's not your business.
No.
You are not a therapist. You are not the justice system. You don't get to make that call.
Usually the best thing to do with sexual predators is to keep them away from vulnerable or communities or young kids.
Yeah, I thought...
Or
right.
anyone, like it's just... That's just what you do.
You keep them away from their prey. With predators, you keep them away from their prey.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so it's bothersome. It's really disgusting, and now the church feels the need to fight dirty. And
right.
It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Right. Yeah. Wait, Christians getting petty and vindictive? That's weird. I've never heard of that before. It's very strange. Oh, here's an interesting guy. I got a board-certified psychiatrist, a professor of clinical psychiatry at New York Medical College, a man named Richard Gallagher.
Okay.
He's got a new book coming out. Part of which, in it, he claims that not always is there a psychological reason for bad behavior. Sometimes it's just demons.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Sometimes the science can't explain it because it's just Satan in them.
Yeah.
You just got a little Satan in you. That's all you need. Apparently this guy has gone into...
Wait, is there some question about that?
Well, it might be controversial within the scientific community. I'm not positive.
See, that's why I don't trust science or scientists, Dan.
Right? Because they don't even
know.
acknowledge the existence, the certain existence.
If you're not going to set up a control that involves demon possession in your research,
right?
I don't know. I
don't know what to do with you.
I don't think that your work is defensible.
Yeah,
quite honestly.
Yeah, he talked about a subject, a patient that he had, who called herself a witch, dressed in flowing dark clothing, black eyeshadow and whatnot. So obviously,
scary.
Inviting Satan right into her life.
Yeah.
She called herself Satan's queen. And even he says, this is a quote.
Oh boy.
This is a quote. I was inclined to skepticism, but my subject's behavior exceeded what I could explain with my training. She could tell some people their secret weaknesses, such as undue pride. She's got magic in her.
Dad, I'm sensing weaknesses.
Which I can...
undue pride.
Nope. All of my pride is due. It's due pride. Yeah, so apparently he was utterly convinced by the powers that she wielded.
Did she? If she levitated and moved across the room, floating, right?
Then maybe
that might get me.
he talks about levitation. In point of fact, he says he never witnessed a case of demonic levitation, but he says they've got to be real because, quote, half a dozen people I work with vow they've seen it in the course of their exorcisms. There you go.
What do you do about that?
About
People saying
6 eyewitness accounts.
But it's all like I want him to say that he saw her levitate.
Right. No.
Not, I've worked with some people who, about half of them, say that they've seen it.
He said
During exorcism.
And then, of course, he came, and the obvious question would be like, hey, evidence? Question mark?
Yeah.
To which he says that, the spooks, quote, will hardly allow themselves to be easily recorded by video equipment, as skeptics sometimes demand.
Oh, yeah.
They're too clever.
They are clever.
They see that red light come on the camera, and they're like, nope, not doing it this time.
See, that's why you put tape over the tally light.
It's so important. It's so important to tape up that light. Then they don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the problem with all those ghost hunter shows where they never actually see a ghost. They always see like sort of, there was an orb, and then we don't get to see the orb, but like they're all sure that there was an orb or whatever.
Yeah.
They're just not taping over that red light.
Yeah.
The ghosties know that they're there, that they're recording.
There's oftentimes a setting in the menus that you can just shut off the light.
These people need to be much more clever.
And so
just get a little bit more clever, and then we'll all have the evidence we need to believe in your absolutely stupid contentions.
Yeah. I don't know. I used to watch that MTV show. What was it? Where they sent the people into like the fear. What was it?
Oh, I
they
don't
had
know.
like the camera on their face. Do you remember this one?
No, I didn't. I've never watched anything like that.
God, it was so. I think it was MTV. It was so fucking good. You'd have to like.
They just
go
scare
into,
people. They just send people into a scary, dark place.
Yeah, so it'd be like an old abandoned factory, right?
Right.
And then they'd have like,
and they don't give them a
you'd
light.
have to go in and stay like overnight,
right.
And then like all this like crazy shit would happen in the dark,
Right. And of course, all it is like there's a producer who like drops a box,
jingling some chains,
right?
Yeah, and it's but they had like this harness that they would put on the person. And it had like this little camera that was like right on pointed at their face.
Okay.
And it was like an infrared type camera.
So we can see them, but they can't see you.
Yeah, exactly. So even when it was dark, you could totally see them. And it was the expressions on their faces when they got totally spooked and were just running like a bat out of hell.
Right.
Out of the place. Amazing. So funny. And it was always presented like it was really scary.
Right.
And it was just
well, you can whip a person up into quite a lather.
Oh yeah,
if you're not careful.
If you have no scruples,
right?
Oh yeah,
you can scare the bejesus out of folks.
People.
Do you have one more, or is that it?
No, that was
okay.
it.
Well, if you guys have anything you need to say to us about, if you guys have seen Spooks and Specters, call the Ghostbusters first, but then call us. You can reach us at podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yeah, go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist, and click the word like.
And while you're there, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge and request to join. It's a closed group, so it's going to take a second. It's not just like you click and you're in.
It's the house that love built. Everybody go there. It's great. Hey, Frank.
Yes?
Speaking of spooky things,
Good.
what if every month a box full of fun, creepy crawlies or interesting, cool stuff came to your very home?
Just like magic?
No, nothing like magic. More like a subscription service that brings you T-shirts, toys, games.
And it's the devil that sent them.
No, No, it's lootcrate.com.
Oh, yay!
All right, we're just reminding you, kids, go to lootcrate.com, LOOTCRATE.com/TGI Atheist. You can sign up for Loot Crate. You get a bunch of really neat stuff every month in the mail, way more than you actually end up paying for.
Yeah.
You end up, getting a lot more cool stuff than you pay for. It's a subscription service, geek stuff galore. Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So go to lootcrate.com/TGI Atheist and sign up.
Be great. Thanks, guys. All right. We're going to take a quick break. This is, I don't know if I really caught the guy's name. Let's see.
Bubba. I'm going to call him Bubba.
Bubba happens to be on the Jim Baker show.
Oh.
And he's helping. He's got stuff to say about demons. But then he decides to help Jim Baker out. It's probably in the contract. When you go on the show, you have to loop everything back around.
It's less a religion show and more a QVC.
We're not thinking this way because normal people don't think like this.
Right.
But Muslims are not normal people. They're demon-possessed. Right? There's no such thing as a moderate Muslim. There's only backslidden Muslims. There are backslidden Muslims who aren't reading the Quran. Once they get back into reading the Quran and becoming a practicing devout Muslim, they become violent because Islam is a violent religion. So I don't talk about moderate Muslims and radical Muslims. No, there's just Muslims. And Islam has a history of blood. Everywhere it's ever gone, bloodshed. They conquer with the sword. Name one country you would like to move to that's dominated by Muslims. Every one of them is hell on earth. Jim, if this is not right, then God forgive me, but yesterday on the plane coming here, I felt this urgency to tell your supporters, you have very little time to buy food and supplies. Very little time. The window is going to close soon. We are one disaster from martial law. There are only 4 corporations in this country that produce this kind of food.
That's right.
There are only 4.
People don't get that.
There are only 4.
I can't believe you're saying it because
I checked it out, Jim. There's only 4 companies that make this food.
it's highly specialized to create food that doesn't spoil for 20 years.
Yes.
It takes a lot of work. It takes a special science.
If there is an event this summer, like a chemical gas attack, where a vast amount of people are killed, in the tens of thousands, the smart people will stampede to buy this food.
We're in trouble, kids.
Oh, my.
We are one disaster away from martial law.
Oh, my.
At which point, apparently, food will be not forthcoming anymore.
No.
At which, once they declare martial law, nobody gets food.
Nope. But oh god, we just have so very little time.
I love the stuff at the beginning about how there's no radical Islam.
Right.
There's just people who believe what the book said, like who believe in Islam. Wow. That is some self-aware shit right there, because if you replace the word Islam with Christianity, the same shit applies. Everything he just said, you could just scribble out Islam and write in his Christianity.
Just terrifying. Dude.
There you go.
Oh, they're so scary.
I hate it when they do a chemical gas attack
That kills tens of thousands of people.
but doesn't kill food in a bucket.
No, it lasts 20 years, Dan.
It's the only thing you can do. You need your food in your bucket for the chemical gas attack.
That bucket of food is how the cockroaches are going to survive.
Right. Well, it's actually made of cockroaches. I don't know if you know this.
That's why it survives.
That's what we're all going to be eating. Cockroaches. Only 4 companies in the world produce it.
Let me tell you, they were scanning across pictures of the food
In the video.
and it looked like that burger was made from something unholy.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
Not good.
Yeah.
Well, we had some folks write into us. We have communique from listeners. Here we go. Bill wrote in from Oregon. I found myself alternatively groaning and screaming out loud when you were reading the apologist Reasons God Exists segment. I was a hardcore Mormon for 50 years. Good Lord. Wow. And I can honestly say that the peace and tranquility I have in my life since leaving religion is much greater than I experienced on the inside.
Yeah.
I find much more comfort in the shit happens explanation for bad things happening. As a believer, you have to go through constant gyrations to make peace with a God that usually behaves badly. Same thing with churches. When the Mormon church does something stupid, I laugh. I used to stay up nights trying to justify things that are, in the end, unjustifiable.
Ugh.
Yeah. I had that same conversation with a friend of mine just last night. I was just over for a dinner party with a friend, and we were just talking about how much she had just been through a rough time and said realized at one point how grateful she was that she didn't have to actually believe in God, in a God that would do that to her.
Yeah.
Because I got news for you. If a God has a personal interest in all of our lives, then every shit thing that happens to you
He signed off on.
was chosen for you by that God. And fuck that. It's just so much nicer to go, oh, this is just how random life works.
Yeah.
And it sucks sometimes, and it's awesome sometimes, and we just have to live with that.
Yeah.
Makes a lot more sense than a magic guy who apparently hates you.
Sitting there with his 10-sided die up in the sky.
Right, exactly.
Just, okay, what's going to happen? What's happening to Dan?
Oh, rolled
Dan.
a 2. Sorry, Dan. Cancer.
No elf is going to come help you now.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, anyway.
But I'm a level 4 mage. I don't know what that means.
I don't either. Yeah. All right. What else you got?
We got a couple other things. Hey, Frank and Dan, I'm listening to this week's episode titled Delusions of Grandeur, and Frank made the comment that if you're not fully denouncing the behavior of the Orlando shooter, you are being complacent. It just reminded me of my favorite quote, one that I tend to use multiple times a week, and I just wanted to share it with you guys. It's from Desmond Tutu. If you are neutral in situations of injustice, you have chosen the side of the oppressor. The quote goes on to say, if an elephant has its foot on the tail of a mouse and you say that you are neutral, the mouse will not appreciate your neutrality.
No.
That's the Lord's own truth. She says, I really agree with Dan's point that just denouncing the behavior is not enough. It is being neutral. It's extremely easy to just say that you don't agree with murdering people, but until you begin to recognize, denounce, and work against the root cause of what led him to believe this way, religion, you are remaining neutral, and you are choosing the side of the oppressor. There you go.
Yep.
Thanks for that.
Yep.
We had an interesting donation this week, Frank.
Oh, did we?
I don't know if you know about this. A sizable one-time donation.
Okay.
This from the TGIA Ladies Lounge.
Okay.
This is an offshoot. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're not in the members-only lounge on Facebook, which is fine, you don't have to be, you won't be aware of the fact that several, like a couple dozen offshoot groups have sprung up from this.
Right.
People, there's a creative minds one, and there's a political one, and none of these, by the way, I should be clear, are affiliated with us or with the TGIA members only lounge. They've just popped up of their own volition, and they're delightful.
Right.
But there's one called the Ladies Lounge, which is just for, as you might guess, the ladies.
Ladies.
It is not for gentlemen, so don't.
But we're ladies.
So don't try, guys. It's not for you. Anywho, they apparently they decided to have a writing competition in the Ladies Lounge. They each wrote little short stories.
Okay.
And then they all each had to contribute to the fund to enter.
Yeah. Okay.
And then they donated it to us. The contribution to us. I think that's so great.
Well,
the
that's
winner,
sweet.
The winner,
kick-ass prize.
The winner was to get a prize. So
okay.
like there was an X amount of prize, and then the rest was donated to us. But the winner
that's
donated her
awesome.
prize to us
No.
in the name of her children, Aiden and Stella.
That's adorable.
So thank you, Aiden and Stella,
Yes.
for your mom's contribution to our show. And thank you, all the ladies of the lounge.
Thank you, ladies.
All the single ladies. All the lounge ladies.
There
all
you
the
go.
lounge ladies.
There you go, Dan.
Yeah, they're not all single.
They're not all single.
But yes, thank you for that. We also, do we have some other donors? Some new patrons?
New patrons on Patreon. We have Quentin, Steven, and Doug. And thank you guys. And if you'd like to become a patron on Patreon, you can go to thankgodimatheist.com and look for the support banner on the side of the page. Click on it. It says Patreon and all that. You click on it, and it'll take you to a little sign up form and blah blah blah.
And then you can. I mean, for as little as like $1 an episode, you can be a patron of our show, and we greatly appreciate all of your donations.
Awesome. So thank you guys.
All right.
4th of July.
Happy birthday, America.
Yay!
Right now, it is not quite the 4th of July, but by the time most of our listeners are listening to this, it either will be or will have been or something.
Indeed. In fact, I was at the wine store yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Waiting in line, and the mother with her little girl in front of us. All I heard was this little, just barely starting to talk little kid explain to the cashier what the 4th of July is.
Oh, and what did she explain?
It's America's birthday.
Oh, my goodness.
And it was adorable.
Yeah.
And the indoctrination, of course, starts early.
Well, I mean, it is America's birthday, sort of. It is the date that the first signatures plopped themselves onto the United States Declaration of Independence.
Yes.
We were independenting ourselves from England,
Yes.
which, by the way, they just did their own Declaration of Independence.
Yeah.
So
It's
there you go.
a crazy world we live in right now. I don't even know what's going on anymore.
Yeah, dogs and cats living together. Mass hysteria.
Yeah.
But yeah, we celebrate this moment.
Yeah.
It's one of our founding documents, that Declaration of Independence.
Yeah. It's a good document.
It is a good document. And one that briefly mentions a creator, unlike the other founding document, which would be our Constitution.
The legal one. The one that sets forth our legal system.
The one that defines what America actually is.
Right.
So we wanted to talk just briefly about, because boy, when you're in this country and you hear people from the right, especially the political right, but also the religious right of this country, talk about how things are supposed to go here.
Right.
You will hear the phrase Christian nation.
Yeah.
This country is a Christian nation, and the founding fathers were Christians who meant for Christ to be a part of everything, and Christ and Jesus and God and
Well, yeah.
So we'd like
Wasn't that the case?
we would like to talk about that a little bit, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
While it's true that most of our founding fathers, if asked, "Are you Christian?" would probably have responded, and I'm saying most, not all, would probably have responded with a qualified yes. Mm-hmm. That does not mean that any of them really wanted this to be a Christian nation. Maybe some of them did. But the important ones, the ones that we talk about, those guys, not that into Christianity.
No, they wanted it to be a country where there was the freedom to express your religious belief,
right?
And to gather in your own religious groups and have all those freedoms,
and be free from the government
pretty
interfering in any of that.
Pretty secular system they set up, though.
Yeah. I mean, you got people like old Tom Jefferson.
Yeah,
that rapscallion.
Yeah,
he's the guy that went through, I will remind you, excuse me, and redacted the New Testament because he just hated all the parts where Jesus was magic.
Right.
He liked the parts where Jesus said nice things.
Right.
Just did not like the stuff where he, performed tricks.
Yeah.
The David Blaine part of Jesus, he just does not get along with.
The card tricks?
Yeah, exactly.
The floating, the street magic.
Walking on water.
Jesus Christ, street magician.
Bringing people back from the dead. Those kinds of things, he very rightly observed, aren't actually physically possible.
Although,
Yeah?
I'd like to see David Blaine bring someone back from the dead.
Right?
That would be a good street magic.
Someone gets shot and he just walks over and
Yeah.
plunk,
Ooh, ah.
pulls the bullet right out of their chest, and
Yeah.
then they're like, what happened? Blaine just looks at the camera and says nothing. Just with those
It
steely
would confirm
eyes.
all of my suspicions about David Blaine.
That he's Jesus?
Yeah.
David Blaine is Jesus. Hashtag Blaine is Jesus. Anyway, so the United States of America, yeah.
Well, I think there's a lot of interesting mythology about the founding of the nation.
Indeed.
Right? I think that, and they're interesting things. Like, people will say things like, that the hand of God was clearly on America's side in this fight against Britain. And the Revolutionary War is always pitted as just the colonists and just Britain, with a slight acknowledgement to the French.
Like a little tiny sort of begrudging hat tip.
And BT Dubs, the French were around and they kind of helped out a little.
There was a guy with a really Frenchy name. I don't know where he's from. I don't know much about that part.
When in fact, some of this, it's like 90% of all the gunpowder used in the Revolutionary War to fight for America's cause, or the American, whatever. 90% of it came from France. Right?
Well,
They provided 25,000 uniforms and sets of boots for the military. Like they pulled no stops.
Right.
When they pulled out all the stops rather in their sort of military support of it, because it was a proxy war. They hated Britain,
Right.
and
they stood to gain quite a bit from America as a major trading partner with them instead of with Great Britain.
Exactly. And so they had their ships all out. They sent tons of support.
Yeah.
But boy, you listen to most people, and it's a much more convenient history for sort of that American, like the greatness of America and God's hand in the founding of America. If it was just this ragtag little group of colonists who, against all odds, beat the largest army and strongest military power in the world,
Right.
right? And it's like, well, yeah, but they had another superpower that was fighting
Right, yeah.
with them.
Exactly.
So-
Jesus. They had another superpower named Jesus who was fighting with them.
Jesus.
Jesus. Yeah. It's funny how much people like to weave Christianity into the mythos of America.
Yeah.
It's, you hear all sorts of things, and boy, who's the historian, the quote unquote historian that they always is it Barton? That they always trot out, who's like completely, nobody in the historical world thinks Barton is a historian, but he's the one that will always say, no, they all believed that Jesus was the only thing, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Of course, America was largely Christian. This place was founded by a bunch of Puritans from England. Like England sent over the worst Christians in the world who all came here. We call them pilgrims, for God's sake.
And we're still feeling the repercussions.
Right, yeah. Literally the most uptight people in England, of all places, left England because it was too permissive and came to here. So yeah, there's a Christian basis. Like, yes, the white people in the in the Americas started largely as Christians.
Yeah.
But by the time we got to the writing of our Constitution, we had big guys who were like, yeah, it's really important to separate these things.
Yeah.
Christians will point out, however, that the phrase separation of church and state does not appear in our Constitution. I just love. Here's the other thing that I love about the mythos.
Well, that's a good point.
Right. Of course, the concept appears very strongly. And matter of fact, the phrase was coined by Thomas Jefferson later as a means of explaining what he meant by when he wrote it in the Constitution.
Right.
In the Constitution that he wrote, this is what we meant, that there will be a wall of separation between church and state.
Right.
But they're right.
Well,
the phrase itself does not appear.
Well, but I mean, there's the phrase that there should be no religious test for federal office, right?
Correct.
Isn't that enshrined in the document?
Well, yes, and also, yeah, in the First Amendment says has two clauses: the Establishment Clause, the government shall not establish a religion,
right?
And then there's the Free Practice Clause. Oh, what is it called? I don't know. I don't have it in front of me. But there's the next clause over is nor will it inhibit the free practice of a religion.
Yeah.
Something along those lines.
Yeah, okay.
So pretty clear.
Yeah.
Government isn't about religion.
Right.
That's your business.
Yeah.
Do it on your own time.
Right.
But that's.
But then we give them all these tax breaks.
Yeah.
Fucking
that's
hell.
Tricky. I mean, now let's be clear. Some of our, quote, founding fathers, we love to talk about founding fathers. Some of them did believe that religion had a very strong role to play in a civil society. I would imagine most people thought that at the time, even though church attendance in that time period in these United States, very low. But they still believed. Most of them still believed.
It was a nice idea.
It was very cute.
I'm glad that other people believe in practice.
Right. Yeah. At that time.
I don't feel the need.
Right.
But it's good that other people do.
Oh, yeah. It's very interesting. Historians have now, they largely agree that this was meant to be a very strong separation. Although, man, you listen to how people talk about and the people who are talking most about America and its Constitution are what I love to hear is the what do they call them? The people who believe that we need to get to the original intention of the founders. Originalists, I guess, is probably what they call them. Because what's great about them is that they talk about the Constitution like it's this unchangeable, static document. Right. And then they point to the First Amendment of that document as their big deal.
Well, I mean, there's a process defined in the Constitution for changing the Constitution.
Right. Yeah, the guys who wrote it were like, we recognize this is based on right now.
Yeah.
And better ideas will come along as we grow and as we as a nation learn things and stuff. Yeah. So things like eventually they abolished slavery and eventually they finally got rid of booze. And then they were like, oh shit, we meant not get rid of booze and they brought booze back.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. It's meant to be a living document.
Yes.
Unless it serves your purposes right
but don't
now.
dare fucking touch it.
Don't touch it.
It's perfect.
God is. Well, but the problem is that they believe that it's God-inspired, that God inspired the creation of this document. And if God inspired it as it is, you can't change it.
But God said you can change it.
This is the problem, people. we have some issues here. Anyway, go out there and light some fireworks, scare some dogs.
Oh, don't scare dogs.
Well, unfortunately, fireworks are very traumatic to many dogs.
I know.
Yeah.
So don't light fireworks. Go to a show.
That's just plain un-American, Franklin. That is just... You get out of this country, you commie. Anyway, if you guys have any un-American views that you'd like to share with the committee, the House Committee on Un-American whatever, please share them with us instead. Write to podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or call us. Leave a voicemail message.
Oh, we'd love that.
The number is 424-666-8442.
Yeah, we just... Everybody got out of the habit of calling us, and we and then we don't ever have any voicemails anymore.
Why don't you call?
Anyway, go to the Facebook page. What? You were going to say something?
Why don't you call? You never call.
Call your mother. You don't call your mother. You never call your mother anymore.
Nobody calls anymore.
You don't bring me flowers. Anyway, go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist.
And while there, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge and request to join. It's a closed group, so you have to be let in.
Yeah.
It's going to take a second. So be patient.
But we love you anyway. Thanks to Mackenzie for doing our social media, for doing the Facebook page. She does a great job.
And thanks to the Red Rock Hot Club for the use of their music.
And thank you, dear listener, for tuning in every week, as we know you do. We sure appreciate you.
Bye!